Hi everyone, my name is Onur. I'm an assistant professor in Istanbul Kültür University, Department of Architecture. This presentation is about current and possible future impacts of Hasanpasa Gasometer Building's adaptive reuse project in Istanbul. This semester, a group of architecture students studied the traditional wooden houses that are located in Kurbaldere Historical Conservation Site, which is very close to the gasometer buildings. So, further studies such as historical site conservation project and infill designs for empty lots are also planning as part of this research. International doctrinal texts outline the general framework of adaptive reuse of historical building. 1964 Venice Charter Article 5 underlines the need of using the historical building for some socially useful purpose, but it also reminds us the balance between protection and use. 2011 Paris Declaration on Heritage as a driver of development recommends heritage and regional development by revitalizing towns and local economies. It points out to encourage the reuse of built heritage in towns and rural villages in order to foster socio-economic regeneration. 2013 Bura Charter defines adaptation as changing a place to suit the existing use or a proposed use. It also defines use as the functions of a place, including the activities, traditional and customary practices that may occur at the place or are dependent on the place. Even exercising a right of access is defined as a use in this context. Bura Charter defines general framework for new use. According to the text, new use of a place should involve minimal change to significant fabric and use, should respect associations and meanings, and where appropriate should provide for continuation of activities and practices which contribute to the cultural significance of the place. 2018 Law Warden Declaration for Adaptive Reuse of the Built Heritage describes the cultural, social, environmental, and economic aspects of reuse. Multi-scale and territorial approach is recommended as heritage sites should be understood in their wider surrounding context in order to fully consider their integration into urban environment and natural landscape, while responding to access and mobility challenges. The text emphasizes that by opening to the surrounding context, heritage sites can create new dynamics and thereby contribute to the regeneration of the urban fabric. Adaptive reuse of historical buildings minimizes intervention at site scale in historical quarters and maximizes potential within the community. Industrial heritage serves as an important witness to a country's socioeconomic history and industrial development process. Although their original functions may no longer be relevant due to rapidly advancing technologies and changing spatial needs, they have become embedded in the city's memory, and within the context of the mission aesthetics they embody, have become an integral part of the public sphere. The transformation revealed through the adaptive reuse of industrial heritage is, in fact, a transformation of the concept production itself. It aims to ensure continuity in the connection with society by shifting from a product-oriented production model to one centered on the production of knowledge and culture. According to ICOMOS World List of Heritage in Danger reports, a significant portion of the heritage sites at risk consists of 20th century architectural heritage, which also includes the industrial sites and buildings. The primary reasons for this situation are lack of awareness regarding the cultural heritage value of 20th century buildings, lack of necessary expert knowledge regarding specific materials and construction techniques, pressures from urban development and renewal, pressures and inadequacies created by the application of standardized regulations, which makes it impossible to discover the unique character of a site and make decisions tailored to that specific location. Istanbul was the city where industrialization efforts, which emerged alongside the 19th century industrial revolution in the Ottoman Empire, were most concentrated. According to a study conducted in the early 20th century, the city of Istanbul housed 55% of the industrial facilities located in the Ottoman Empire at that time. There were four gasometer buildings constructed in Istanbul. The first one is dated to 1854 and built for the needs of Dolmabahce Palace. Hasanpasa was the last gaswork facility that was established in 1891 to provide gas for heating and lighting in the area stretching from the coastlines of Kadıköy, Üsküdar, and the Anatolian side of Bosphorus to the border of Beykoz. Hasanpaşa region is part of Kadıköy district that has a history dating back to the 7th century BC. Chalcedon is the original name of the region at ancient times. The district is one of the oldest settlements in the city, not only to its cultural heritage sites and monumental structures that bear the traces of various historical periods, but also to the diverse range of activities it offers within urban context. It is a place where people of different ages and social groups intermingle. Even during the Ottoman period, it remained outside the city center, and just as in the Byzantine era, Kadıköy was not an integral part of the city. However, the tradition that began with the imperial residences during the Roman period continued in the 16th century with sultans' gardens and pavilions. An examination of historical maps of Istanbul reveals that until the late 19th century, Kadıköy was a neighborhood that did not extend beyond Kurbalıdere and was generally home to a predominantly Greek population. The Hasanpaşa area, on the other hand, consisted primarily of flat lands with vineyards, gardens, and meadows during this period. It was used by public as a recreational area and was not densely built up. The city's first scientific map was prepared by Kafar in the 18th century. With the exception of a few structures concentrated around the pier and marketplace in the center, the remaining area consists of vineyards and gardens. With the start of regular steamship services in 1857, transportation to neighborhoods isolated from the city center, such as Kadıköy, Bosphorus villages, and the Prince Islands, became easier, and these areas became year-round residential zones. The second significant period is the 1873 railway line construction. This single-track line facilitated the integration of coastal settlements and villages with the city center. Consequently, areas along the railway line and around the stations, which had previously been vineyards, vegetable gardens, were opened up for settlement. 1930 Pervitic and 1954 Tuvalu maps are showing the rapid development of the region. Kadıköy's historic areas include Haydarpaşa's train station and the surrounding archaeological site, Yerdeğirmeni Urban Conservation Area, the Market District, Kuşdili Meadow, Yoğurtçu Park, the Moda Neighborhood, and the Hasanpaşa District. In addition to these areas, significant examples of traditional wooden houses can still be found, particularly in the neighborhoods along the coast. As seen, the Kadıköy district serves as a living record spanning from the Neolithic period through the Byzantine and Ottoman eras to the present day, and it is home to significant findings that shed light on the city's history. Kadıköy district is used for living, working, and socializing. Among the key factors enabling the active use of the area is its location, which stands at the intersection of various transportation routes, making it easily accessible within the city. But Hasanpasa region is the least attractive area among these historical parts of Kadıköy. Today, it houses a neighborhood-scale residential area used by the middle to low-income group, a service-oriented facilities area, and Kurbaldere Historical and Natural Conservation Site, which is the primary interest of this research. Hasanpaşa region is bordered by Kurbaldere River. The area had been a recreational space characterized by its green spaces and the sparse distribution of wooden houses within the gardens until the 1950s. However, after that time, Turkey began to experience rapid urbanization. After 1960, Kadıköy district had evolved into a neighborhood not only characterized by residential settlements, but also by a concentration of commercial activities. Istanbul was a pedestrian-friendly city until that time. An increase in the density of people and vehicles after 1960s also brought an acceleration of demolition and new construction activities in the urban area. Starting from the 80s, Hasanpaşa district began to rapidly lose its historical character. In the 1990s, it became separated from the Kadıköy Marketplace Center by new roads built in the surrounding area and turned into a sub-center. The transformation from its former character as a recreational site to a service-oriented economy, along with the presence of car and motorcycle repair shops, has undermined the neighborhood's traditional character. With the emergence of new lighting technologies, Hasanpaşa and the other three gaswork facilities were closed in 1993. In 1994, the demolition was stopped after the site was registered as a second group of cultural asset requiring protection by Istanbul Conservation Board Number 2. Hasanpaşa Gasometer buildings is the first example of 20th century industrial heritage to be placed under protection in Turkey. The contribution of civil society organizations and local groups to conservation in historic quarters is playing a critical role. Gazhane Environmental Volunteers is one of the actors in transformation. After the Gasometer buildings were listed as an industrial heritage, Gasometer Environmental Volunteers was established as a civil society organization by neighborhood residents and former employees in 1996. They opposed to the demolition of the gasworks with the aim of ensuring citizen participation in the gasworks management. By surveying neighborhood residents from different ages, the needs and expectations from a public space was questioned. They also prevented the construction of a multipurpose exhibition hall and a multi-story parking garage inside the industrial site. The community held meetings with the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality and also local municipality, the Cultural and Natural Heritage Preservation Board, the Architects Association of Istanbul, and Istanbul Technical University. Essentially, the requests from people living in this area focused on the need for open and green spaces. Another success from the project is a book compiled from the memories of people who worked at the gasworks. The book consists of stories by authors who create fictional narratives based on the memories of real people. Stories from the Gasworks archive is basically another way of transformation from personal narratives into a printed publication. In 1999, a group of faculty members from Istanbul Technical University, Faculty of Architecture, prepared projects for survey, restoration, and adaptive reuse, which were approved by the Conservation Board in 2001. The Hasanpasa Gas Works opened to the public in 2021 as Müze Gazhane. The architectural design team describes the site as a vibrant hub of energy. One of the project's objectives is to address the need for open and green spaces for the locals. The open spaces of each existing building on the site are defined as public niches and pocket gardens. This presentation will not focus on the architectural composition of adaptive reuse design in detail, but it is important to underline that the Hasanpasa Gas Works has undergone an open and transparent transformation which offers various usage possibilities while retaining its original equipment without being sterilized. There are various activities for different ages from different interests. Two university dormitories right next to the Gasometer buildings also contribute to user diversity in addition with the locals. The public-led conservation of Hasanpasa Gasworks has played an active role in providing social and cultural opportunities for the local community. However, the initial excitement generated by the adaptive reuse of industrial heritage must be harnessed, and a long-term, holistic approach must be adopted through conservation, improvement, and revitalization programs. By taking a bottom-up planning approach, the local community must be made an active participant in the process. The possible catalytic impact after the adaptive reuse of industrial heritage is expected for the rehabilitation and regeneration of Kurbaldere Conservation Site. The site contains registered wooden structures and the remains of historic buildings. A large portion of the historical wooden buildings that have survived to the present day have lost their original character due to substandard repairs and additions, while some have fallen into a state of rapid deterioration because they have been abandoned and left unused. Similar with the other villages along the Bosphorus, where streams flow through them, transportation along the Kurbaldere was provided by small boats. There were gardens and meadows until 20th century, so Kurbaldere historical site housed public use for centuries. However, with the emergence of infrastructure problems linked to population growth in the 1950s, the ecological environment of the Kurbaldere and its surroundings was negatively affected. By the 1970s, the site, which had become polluted and created an unhealthy physical environment due to wastewater from the surrounding dense development being discharged into the stream, had lost their status as a recreational and leisure area for the local community. The Kurbaldere Valley of Life project and the architectural urban design competitions are two promising ventures today, but there are several threats that affect the site. Heavy traffic along the Kurbaldere Street is blocking the pedestrian circulation. Besides that, the ground floor usage of the buildings around the gasometer is reducing interest in walking around the site. The public use opportunities for the open spaces in historical quarters have positive impacts on rehabilitation works. The bus terminal is one of the misused areas in the site. An holistic approach including this area is vital for revitalizing the historical parts and rehabilitation of the neighborhood. Integration of the conservation site into the green line at the shore, just like once it was a recreation area for public use, is necessary for public interest. A historic environment that is merely made to appear attractive through artificial external interventions, one that remains confined to the realm of stage design, will not serve as a driving force for the urban renaissance. For historic areas, which are also the subject of strategic urban policies at the macro level, it is essential to think make decisions, and take action at the local level, while maintaining control mechanisms based on the short and long term outcomes of these actions. Revitalization attempts have to operate within a sensitive context and environment. The areas have to cope with inexorable change in their economic sources, while their physical landscapes are restricted and controlled in the interest of preservation. It is a challenging process to balance the economic development with respect for preserving the cultural heritage. A need to find a balance between the agglomeration of a particular uses to give character and to gain the benefits of economic integration and a range of uses to provide vitality. But also the vitality and animation of the historic quarter therefore needs to be authentic rather than a theatrical stage set. It is not appropriate to establish a standard formula for successful revitalization. Each case must be considered individually. Revitalization efforts must be site specific, recognizing, accepting, interpreting, and managing for conservation. In cities like Istanbul, where historic areas and new developments are intertwined, boundaries are blurred, and the city is polycentric, comprehensive decisions that take a broad view of conservation areas are needed. The decisions defining transportation corridors, commercial and tourism zones should not be shaped by investment driven priorities. Consequently, at a higher level, planning decisions should prioritize the public interest and conservation, while at the local level, the acceptance and sustainability of regional, stylistic, functional, and typological diversity take center stage. Thank you for listening.